Welcome to Detective Diaries, brought to you by Private Detectives Answers Investigation. If you are captivated by the art of deduction, the thrill of solving the unsolvable, or the enigmatic world of private investigation, you've just found your new favourite podcast. Detective Diaries is where secrets unravel and the truth is always a clue away. Presented by Private Detectives Answers Investigation. Each episode contains offbeat conversations about the real people involved in investigation.
Welcome back to Detective Diaries. Today I'm diving into surveillance, particularly some of the earlier jobs I had starting out as a private investigator. A day that started completely routine and then suddenly turned into something a lot more interesting. It's one of those cases that really showed me what the job is all about. Patience, instinct, and being ready for anything. We thought it'd be interesting to discuss two perspectives of surveillance, from me and also my colleague Harry Watts, who has joined me here today.
Hi Jess, good to be here.
At that stage in my career, I hadn't done many cases where things changed so quickly. So I remember feeling this mix of excitement and pressure. There's this voice in your head going, don't lose her, don't mess this up, but then your instincts kick in and you just do the job. Looking back, that case really helped build my confidence. It forced me to trust my own judgment. When someone suddenly jumps in a taxi, there's no time to doubt yourself. Started surveillance exercises, I had in my head that it would be a lot of waiting around without much action. And whilst this can partially be true, I have quickly learnt that it can be much more fast-paced and very reactionary. I had always wondered how the different forms of surveillance would arise. From having spent time with Harry on such cases, I'll let him delve into how this works a bit more.
Yeah, do you know what? I think it's really important that, what you've outlined, addressing that confidence is really important here. Circumstances for deploying surveillance can vary quite widely, can't they? You've got the aspects of having it either static or mobile. So static being fixed, i.e. you're watching a property, for example, and obviously mobile surveillance, most normally utilising a vehicle or being on foot when you're travelling around following someone. London actually is notorious, isn't it? I know you've had a bit of experience with this, but it's busy, it's difficult, especially at peak travel times. So you're going to need multiple agents to get that coverage from all angles and assist in case someone loses sight, and someone will be in position for that.
Yeah.
I remember following someone from Euston Station. this must have been about 4 or 5 o'clock, and the droves of people coming out. Oh no, they all emerged from all the businesses and the places of work, and then you just kind of think, oh God, this is actually a bit of an enjoyable test, isn't it? And make sure you know what you're doing. Generally surveillance, you're likely to travel 2 or 3 times as much ground as the person you're following. And that's normally because of angles. If you're following someone on foot, let's say again, you're on that busy high street, you would want to be on the other side, probably looking about 45-degree angle onto them. And so that this is when, if they turn around, you're not actually in their direct line of sight.
So what about disguises? Do you use them?
Disguises, it can be helpful. Certainly a high-vis jacket I carry around in the car just in case you need to get on an interesting site. But I wouldn't say it's truly necessary. You can certainly have a listen to our podcast about Giuseppe Dossi to get a bit more about the Italian detective and his disguises. But I would say any agents who, you've got bright coloured outfits, hair that sticks out, eye-catching characteristics, that's going to give you away. So trying to minimise that where possible is important. But of course we have other things as well, technology and devices. I think most people would probably think we're rolling around with SLR cameras, giant lenses on them, but no, we've got a lot of discreet and covert devices as well. And examples, a pen camera. A lot of times you might actually need this, a bit of wearable camera and technology. Obviously that's all going to change with Meta glasses behind you, but the pen camera is really simple and effective. Obviously you need a bit of training of it. You can't just simply pop it on and expect to get to the end of it, but you can use these devices in coffee cups, and you can sit at a cafe for a long while, so you're not actually having to sit there with that big camera.
Yeah, well, that's all interesting. You've been doing this for so many years now. Do you get jaded by it all?
I think one of the things is you have compartmentalization. Each case, while they might be similar in nature, are different at the end of the day. But it's actually the fun things and the stories you come away with. I remember that a lot of cases you might be sat around, but you're chatting with the agent you're with, passing the time, getting to know each other a bit more, because there's nothing quite like sat in a car with someone for 6 to 7 hours. You learn everything about them. But I hate mornings. Oh God, I hate mornings. So if you tell me it's late night, I'll be there in a heartbeat. If it's early morning, you'll probably hear a grumble from me.
Yeah.
But that's just me, so I'm sure it's a bit different for you.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I can't stand early mornings either. But yeah, so in this case, it started like any other. I'm parked up early, coffee in hand, ready for what I thought would be a pretty standard day. And for the first half, it was. You know, the subject came out, ran a few errands, popped into a nail salon, and honestly, sometimes surveillance feels like you're watching someone's personal vlog in real time. You know, you see all the day-to-day stuff, the kind of things nobody ever thinks twice about. It's those slow movements where not much is happening are actually a big part of this job. You know, you're observing, you're documenting, you're staying alert, even when nothing's interesting going on. It's a weird blend of calm and focus. And weirdly, I kind of love that. I enjoy not knowing how the day will unfold. You know, every case feels like its own little storyline. I don't know if you enjoy that too, or...
Do you know, yeah, it's so true, actually, that the whole blend of being hyper-focused, but then also the moments of calm. You know, you kind of think sometimes, oh, I've been sat here for so long, you beg for something to happen, and of course when it does, it explodes out into 100 different things. But, you know, I think a lot of it's compartmentalisation, and we just end up chatting, don't we?
Yeah, we do. You know, 1 minute's all quiet, the next minute you're scrambling to keep up. There's this puzzle-like element to it where you're piecing together a person's routine and movements without ever even interacting with them. You know, I also really enjoy the discipline of it, blending into the background, staying unnoticed, being part of the environment without becoming part of the story. It's like being an observer in someone else's movie.
Very true, very true. So I think actually now you say that, being an observer in someone else's story, it kind of brings something to mind. It's probably one of the weirdest and humorous moments when I was actually in a vehicle doing some static surveillance. Now, whenever you're watching property, it's never the person you're watching that causes an issue. It's always the neighbours, isn't it?
Yeah.
Always the neighbours being nosy. On this occasion, sat outside probably 6-7 hours, so you know it's a significant amount of time. About halfway through, lady comes to my car window, essentially to ask what I was loitering around for. Fair question, right? So I had a chat with her, settled things down, not giving anything away, of course, and then she returned, much to my surprise, with a cup of tea. Tapped on the window, told me to leave the cuppa by the door when I was done. I couldn't believe my luck. Just sat in a cold car, warm cup of tea. What a delight.
Yeah, well, I've actually had sort of similar situation. You know, I was sat outside just waiting and someone came over to me and thought I was homeless. So they told me that I could go to the nearby church and get a free cup of coffee if I was cold.
Oh, a free cuppa. Did you take up that offer at all?
Well, what do you think I'm going to do? Lose sight of them? No, I just stayed where I was.
Sure. Sometimes the best thing to do is ignore, isn't it?
Yeah.
Those sorts of things. I'll tell you what, actually, do you remember your first take of surveillance in your very first week here?
Yes, I do, yes.
Do you want to hear it?
Not really, but go on.
Oh, we're going to play the tape anyway. Here we go.
Hi there, welcome to Detective Diaries once again. Sat here with me is Jess Clayton at the end of her first week as a private detective and fingerprint technician. I want to hear her outlook now and in time in the future. Jessica, so, a week in private investigation, how's it working out so far?
Well, a week seems like a lifetime ago now. What did I do on Monday? I started off in the office Monday, learning all the basics. Sort of the admin side, taking phone calls, how to book appointments, that kind of thing. I think it was Tuesday, was in London office all day, taking fingerprints for clients. Wednesday was the office again, sort of still learning the basics, trying to pick it all up. And Thursday I went out on my first observation.
Well, how did that feel?
It was exciting, yeah. I mean, we didn't see a lot, not a lot happened, but it was nice to get a feel for how that sort of works.
So what were you doing? Just sitting with a newspaper with the eyes cut out, or what exactly?
Not quite, no. So I was sat in my car, sort of sat around watching, but there was no newspaper involved, unfortunately.
But you enjoyed it?
I did enjoy it, yeah.
I mean, enjoy it a little bit, a lot, or are there those big wow moments?
Well, it would have been more interesting if something happened. Not a lot happened, so I think it would have been a bit more wow if we actually got what we went for. But yeah, unfortunately, that's just the way it works sometimes. So we didn't get anything, unfortunately.
So what are the clients like? Do you interact well with them?
Most of them are lovely. very understanding people. Some of them can be a bit difficult, especially over the phone. You know, sometimes it's hard to understand people, sort of the language barrier, because we deal with clients from all across the world. But yeah, I mean, each client's different. You know, you get some that answer the phone and go, oh, hi, how are you? You answer the phone and they're shouting at you already. So it is different. It is different. But yeah, most of them are lovely.
Sounds like you need a lot of patience though. But what about the people you work with? Or is that the wrong question to ask?
Wow. Everyone is lovely. Nigel, you're a bit annoying sometimes, I must admit. But everyone else is lovely.
I knew it was the wrong question to ask.
Torva's messy.
Oh, really?
Sometimes.
Tell us more about how Torva's messy.
Well, her desk is messy sometimes.
Chaotic disorganisation or chaotic organisation?
Chaotic organisation. I would give her that. She is very organised.
A lot of people apply for this job.
Yeah.
Why you?
Well, not to brag, but
brag.
I would say, you know, sort of studying at uni just helped me gain the skill set for this job. Not to mention it did also help that Torva was my housemate at university and she did get the job a few months before me, so that was a bit...
That sounds a bit nepotistic.
It's a bit of a helping
hand. Let's not go down that road too much, shall we? So what do you do at university? Which university?
I went to the University of Portsmouth.
And you studied?
Criminology and forensics.
Good degree?
Yes.
You got to tell?
It was okay. I learnt very quickly that I preferred the forensic side more so than the criminology. But it was very interesting. I did a lot of lab work that I found very interesting, a lot of practicals.
That's cool. Dissertation? What was the subject?
I did how decomposition affects the persistence of semen on decomposing skin.
That's an interesting choice. What prompted that?
Yes. Well, to be honest, there's a lot of uncertainty around the topic, so I was just interested into finding out more. Because there was literally, I think, maybe 1 or 2 other studies that did exactly what I'd done. So yeah, I was just intrigued to find out the results of that.
So what do you think the next few days, weeks or months are going to hold for you?
Just keep doing what I'm doing, keep learning. I'm in London for the next few days, which would be exciting. I'm going back to the place that I was last week for another observation tomorrow, so we will see if we will get anything this time, but yeah.
You sound like you've learnt very, very quickly. Would you come back in a while, perhaps in a few weeks' time, to tell us more about your experiences?
Yes, yeah.
Brilliant. Thanks, Jess.
You're welcome.
Good luck with everything.
Thank you. Well, thanks for making me listen to that. It was pretty cringy, but you asked me to come back and talk about my experiences, so here I am.
Yeah, I mean, do you think much has changed since?
Well, having been involved in more mobile cases, I've learnt that it's far more than just sitting around. And talking about that, going back to my case, you know, after the errands and the nails, the subject heads to a friend's house. Pretty normal. I'm thinking, all right, maybe she's staying there for a while. And then suddenly she comes out, gets into a taxi, and the taxi starts heading towards the airport. And that's when the adrenaline hits. It's that moment where your brain goes, okay, now we're doing this. You shift from a slow-paced morning to a full-on follow mode. So there are so many little challenges people don't realise that come with surveillance. Staying focused during long quiet period is one. Keeping eyes on someone when in crowded public spaces is another. You blend in, but you've also got to be ready to move at a second's notice. And airports, well, they're just a whole different environment. You know, once the subject goes through security, that's where the job usually stops, because you can't follow them beyond that point. It becomes a time race to gather what you need before you lose visual contact. You know, and one thing people always ask is whether it feels strange following someone around all day. And, you know, the truth is, you learn to stay emotionally neutral. You're not there to judge, you're not there to interfere, you're there to observe and document professionally and respectfully. So you handle sensitive information and you treat it seriously. That's something I learned quickly. And honestly, some parts of surveillance can be unintentionally funny, like sitting in your car watching someone get their nails done for an hour thinking, this is my life right now. Or suddenly watching a calm day turn into an airport chase. It's those unpredictable twists that make the job what it is. So for someone who's been doing this for 8 years, surely you've had many unexpected circumstances?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of goes back to my point earlier about it's always the neighbours, whenever there's an issue, it's always the neighbours. But no, I mean, unforeseen circumstances. I mean, I remember when we were in Gran Canaria, travelling down from Los Picos de las Nueces, which is essentially the mountain peaks and the highest point of the island. Yeah, I mean, we're following this car downhill, me and a colleague, and we're thinking, something smells quite burnt. And turns out, because we're having to brake so hard, near vertical roads at this point, car's having a bit of trouble. So we're kind of half hoping that we can actually get to the end of the road and not end up in some sort of accident. You can imagine we're having words with the hire company after that one. But unforeseen, you can't make it up, and you just have to adapt. So with us, it was move with it and just try not to brake as much.
Yeah. Well, in all these sorts of cases, they're humanistic. You set out a plan and it always changes. It's just the nature of this job, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, thank you for joining us in today's episode. If you've enjoyed this topic on surveillance, be sure to look at our specialist episodes where we delve into some of the more unusual services Answers Investigation provides.
From chasing criminals on the streets to leading operations inside one of the UK's most secure sites, my police career has been anything but ordinary. I'm Rob Hoblin, and in my episode of Detective Diaries, I'm pulling back the curtain on my journey through the ranks. The stories that have stayed with me and what it's really like to serve. So, if you've ever wondered what life's really like behind the badge, tune in here on Detective Diaries.
This episode concludes Season 1 of Detective Diaries. Please stay with us for Season 2. And thank you to our growing group of listeners who have liked, subscribed, and recommended us. We alternate episodes between a study of some of the investigative techniques we use day to day with interesting interviews with people we meet and associate with, from interpreters to Shakespeare production companies and senior police officers. Coming up in Season 2, a historic delve into the life of Frederick Aberline, the lead detective in the Jack the Ripper case, a fascinating interview with Emma Short, criminology lecturer, part 2 of our conversation with James Lupton and more of his interpreting experiences in Colombia, together with a second visit to Guildford Shakespeare Company, adding a wealth of insights into the world of investigation and more secrets of our profession. Making this series has been a journey of pleasure. We have made many new friends and revisited old. I would like to thank, in no particular order, Georgia Burgess, Neve Luby, James Lupton, Eddie Merton, Robert Hoblin, Jessica Clayton, Torva Copeman, Etienne Middleton, Harry Watts for their contributions, and particular thanks to Jim, Freya, Adina, AC, Etienne and Deb for the intros and readings. Get involved with us. Send your podcast ideas or suggestions as to who you would like to see interviewed to podcast@private-detectives.co.uk. The email is in the show notes, and if you have missed any episodes, they are all available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. See you next season, available in a few days' time. Keep listening, and until next time, stay curious and keep seeking the truth.